You are listening to the Be Your Own Coach podcast. This is Deanne Life Coach Day, episode number 8. And the question for this week is, what are you doing? Specifically, what actions are you taking as a result of the way that you have been thinking? Now, we have been doing the 100 Days Consistent challenge now for 4 weeks. So we are currently in week number 4, and this is actually day number 24 for me. What day is it for you? Let me know in the comments. What day are you on? I am on 24 out of 100. Let me know where you're at. And so the purpose of this challenge is to help us develop more of the mindset that we need in order for us to get the results that we want to see in our lives. And so throughout this challenge, we're focusing on just 2 things. Number one, we're focusing on doing one thing consistently throughout the 100 days. And the second thing that we're focused on is the practice of being your own coach. And so through these podcasts, I am offering different techniques and different tips that you can use to coach yourself as you work through these 100 days. So in week number 1, I talked about the importance and the benefits of writing down your thoughts, right? As a form of expression, but also just to see what it is that you're actually thinking to increase your awareness. So write those thoughts down. We should be doing that at least 3 to 5 times a week. Get in the habit of just writing down your thoughts. If you are thinking about a goal you have, write down all your thoughts about that goal. If there's a person that you're in a relationship with or that you have certain feelings about, list that person and then write all your thoughts about them. If there's a circumstance that you're having, list that circumstance at the top of the page and then write all your thoughts about that circumstance so that you're able to see what it is that you're thinking. So in week number two was, what are you thinking, right? So just taking time after you write down those thoughts to see what it is that you're actually thinking, rereading those thoughts, taking a look at them, seeing what it is that you're thinking, noticing if there's any certain thinking patterns. So are you having more negative thoughts around certain things, more doubtful thoughts about other things? Just noticing how your brain is working when it is thinking about certain circumstances. So you're just increasing your awareness, which is extremely important, especially if you're trying to create change. Awareness is always the first step. And in number 3, it was all about identifying how you feel. So you're taking a look at these thoughts, and now you want to look at how these thoughts are making you feel. What emotion is it that you're experiencing because of the way that you're thinking? So are you if you're working toward a goal and you're having thoughts that are making you feel doubt or fear or discouragement or even uncertain, then it's likely that you won't make the progress that you want to make because of the feelings that you're experiencing. But if you're having thoughts that are making you feel optimistic and hopeful and determined and confident in regards to your goal, then you're going to be more likely to make progress toward the goal. And so this is why it's important for us to be aware of what we're thinking and how those thoughts are making us feel so that we can see the impact that our thinking is having on our ability to get things done, and to know that we have the power to decide what it is that we want to actually think. We can decide. Now, thoughts, I will admit, thoughts will pop up in our minds, and sometimes we might not be able to control the thoughts that pop up, but we do have control on the thoughts we choose to focus on. So if you're noticing that the thoughts that you're having are keeping you from accomplishing those goals, we need to have a mind shift and start focusing on thoughts that are going to help us get closer to that goal. All right. So that was week number 3. Week number 4, I'm asking you the question, what are you doing? What are you doing as a result of how you have been thinking? So this week, when I ask you, what are you doing? I want you to stop and I want you to take a moment to identify the actions that you tend to take when you feel a certain way because you have been having specific thoughts. And so I'm going to share with you exactly what I mean, because I want to be very clear. So I'm going to talk to you about a little bit about what I did, and maybe this can kind of help you identify what it is that you're doing. So, as some of you may know, during the 100 Days Consistent Challenge, I'm focusing on calendaring, like I said earlier. So this past Friday and Saturday, I scheduled time to work on my podcast. And when the time came for me to work up on the podcast, so let's just say I was supposed to work on it at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m., right? So when 10 a.m. came, I did not work on the podcast. I was having thoughts like, I don't feel like it. No one is listening to my podcast anyway, so it don't even matter. I can put it out on Monday instead of Saturday, and no one knows it's supposed to be out on Saturday morning anyway. So, and then I'm like, I'm just not doing it. So those are the different thoughts that were running through my mind. So when I'm thinking the thought, I don't feel like it and I'm not doing it today, that is causing me to feel resistant, right? I'm feeling resistant toward working toward the goal. And then when I'm thinking I can do it on Monday instead of Saturday, it's kind of like I'm feeling avoidant, like I'm trying to avoid it and just to put it off for some other time. And then when I'm thinking it doesn't even matter if I do it or not because no one's listening, well, that's kind of making me feel a little discouraged, right? Because to think that I'm putting this effort into putting the podcast out and then no one's listening, that causes feelings of discouragement. And then I'm telling myself, well, no one knows that I scheduled it to be out to be published on Saturday morning. So like it's okay if I don't do it. So now I'm like justifying it. I'm feeling justified in my decision not to do it. And so as a result of feeling resistant and avoidant and discouraged and justified in my decision not to do it, I didn't do it. And so instead I laid around, I watched TV, I hung out a little bit. I did whatever it was that I felt like doing in that moment, which was not productive, by the way. And I did this because of how I was feeling and because of the way that I was thinking, right? So my thoughts caused me to feel a certain way, and those feelings, those emotions that I was feeling caused me to take those actions that did not help me get closer to my goal, right? So, but as you can see, or as you can hear, I I am recording the podcast, and as soon as I get done recording it, it's going to be posted and published, right? And the reason why is because of my thoughts, the thoughts that I was having. So after I went through my whole, I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it, nobody's listening, like that was not helping me. It was not useful for me to think in that way. And those thoughts were not helping me accomplish the goals that I want to accomplish. So I did some self-coaching, wrote my thoughts down, saw that I was thinking, saw the emotions that I was feeling, and then I came up with some like more useful thoughts. First, I asked myself, like, why is this goal important to me? And then I answered that question. And then I came up with some thoughts that would be more useful and for more helpful for me to think. So Some of the thoughts included like I want to share one concept per week during this challenge, right? And so I'm thinking if I get off track with sharing the goals or sharing the concepts each week, then I'm not going to meet my goal of sharing one concept each week. So the thought I want to share one concept per week during the challenge, I'm feeling desire because I have the desire to share this information, desire to share these tips, right? And then I'm also thinking it's not too late. Like I'm late, but I'm still within week 4, so I can still get the podcast out. So those thoughts are making me feel like hopeful and optimistic, like I can still reach my target. And then I'm also thinking I can put out a podcast midweek this week and then again on Saturday, right? So now I'm trying to be strategic to see like how can I create 2 podcasts this week and then also put them both out so that like one is for week 4 and one is for week 5. So I'm kind of being strategic in how I'm thinking. So it's making me feel strategic. And then I'm thinking I already know my topics. I already know what I want to talk about. So I'm feeling confident about that. And I want to reap the benefits of doing this work. That's the most important thing to me. Yes, I want to share this information with all of you, and even more than that, I want to reap the benefits myself because I know this stuff works. And so I just want to do it and I want to reap the benefits and I want to inspire others so that they can also see benefits in their lives. So those thoughts making me feel desire, right? Because I want these benefits. So now I'm feeling desire. So because I was feeling desire about getting the podcast done, as well as feeling optimistic and hopeful and confident and strategic, I blocked out time on my calendar. So I do a planning hour once a week at the beginning of the week. I take time to list my goals for the week, and I create like a to-do list um, that goes with the goals that I want to accomplish for the week. And then I block off time to do everything like each of the goals throughout the week. So I blocked off plenty of time for podcasts this week because this week I got to do 2. And then I showed up, right? You can see I've showed up. I'm recording the podcast. I'm about to post it. And so I'm fully focused. Like when it's time for me to do a task or do a podcast or whatever it is I have on my calendar, I'm just fully focused on that one thing. Um, and then I'm getting things done. And it's all because of how I chose to think. I did some self-coaching. I got my mind in check, got my mind right. And so now I'm out here making progress and working toward the goals. And so that's what I want you to do. I want you to write down those thoughts, take a look at them, see how they're making you feel, and then see how you are behaving or the actions that you're choosing to take because of how you're feeling due to the way that you're thinking, right? And just notice it. And then you can decide how do you want to move forward. But the first step is just noticing it because you cannot change what you can't solve a problem when you don't know what the problem is, right? So just take time to become aware. Okay. And so I always give homework because homework is so good for us, especially when you're doing this mindset, when you're trying to have a mindset shift and when you're working on your mindset. So I want you to focus on answering these questions this week. So these are questions that you should ask yourself, right? So you're going to be writing down your thoughts, taking a look at them, kind of identifying how they might make you feel. And then, so that's the what are you thinking part, writing down your thoughts. And then how are those thoughts making you feel? And then what actions are you taking due to how you are feeling? So that is what I want you to do for this week. Week number 4. You're going to take a look at how you're behaving. What are you doing? Or what is it that you're not doing because of how you feel, right? What are you doing? What are you not doing? And I encourage you to ask yourself these questions throughout the week. And I'm going to be doing it myself because I know the benefits of this. And once you identify how those thoughts are impacting you and your ability to get the results that you want in your life, then you can decide how do you want to move forward, right? And how can you think more strategically so that you are able to see more results. But first step is noticing those results. All right, so before we move on, or before I end this, I want to share some positives with you because I said I was in day number 24 of doing the 100 days consistent challenge. So like kind of like a fourth of the way there, right? And so I have been working out consistently. So let's compare it to the month of April. In the month of April, I worked out 2 times the whole month of April. And in the month of May, which is when I started this challenge, my goal was to work out 5 times a week. Like that's my ultimate goal. I want to be consistently working out 5 times a week. So in May, I worked out between 3 to 5 times a week. And I worked out a total of 22 times during the month of May. And in April was only 2 times, right? And then I also, since I've started this challenge, I've also lost 5 pounds. So my goal is to lose 7 pounds a month. But so far I've lost 5 pounds. So hopefully I got I'm on day 24. I don't know, 6 more days. We'll see. But I'm still proud of this 5 pounds that I've lost, right? Because in April, I didn't lose anything. I think I gained some weight that month. And then also, I've been consistently creating my podcast, right? I've been consistently putting out podcasts. I've been putting out a podcast each week. Now, in the past, I've tried to put out a podcast each week, and I might put out one the first week, and then like a week and a half later, I put out a next one, and 2 weeks later, I put out another one, and then skip a month and then put one out. But since I've been doing the 100 Days Consistent Challenge, I have been putting out one podcast in every week. Now, I haven't always been on time, as I just noted before, right? I haven't been perfect at getting them out on the exact day that I plan to get them out, but I have been more consistent. And I wanted to share that with you guys because I want you to focus on being consistent and not being perfect, because it's so hard for us to be perfect. And then when we get it wrong, it makes us we have negative thoughts about ourselves, and we have negative thoughts about our abilities, and it may cause us to want to give up. But if you're just focusing on being consistent within a certain time frame, it doesn't really matter if you miss. What matters is that you get back up and then keep going even though you missed. So just like I did with my podcast, I was late with it. It was supposed to come out Saturday, and today is Tuesday, right? So instead of just like giving up, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna skip this week because it's late, or forget it, I just can't put out a podcast each week. No, I'm still trying. I got back up. I'm trying anyway. I'm posting it on a Tuesday instead of a Saturday. But guess what? I'm still posting. I'm still within my goal of consistently putting out podcasts. And so that's all I want you to do is focus on being consistent, not being perfect. Okay. So until next time, remember, get that homework done. Get that homework done. It's good for you. I know what's best. I know that this is good for you. So get that homework done. Make time in your schedule to do the work because it is worth your time. Even though it might feel tedious at the moment, it's going to help you. It's going to help you get results. And focus on being consistent and not perfect. So be your own coach, and I'll catch you next week.